What's up, you guys? Welcome back again to your Heroclix headquarters. Today, in honor of the new Spider-Verse movie, we're going to be counting down the top 5 Miles Morales in Heroclix. This was actually one of the most difficult top 5 lists I've had to do in a while. Narrowing down which were my favorite top 5 wasn't hard, but putting them in order was because a lot of these are very similar, so I just wanted you guys to keep that in mind. All of these Miles are pretty great, and if you guys have a different opinion, let me know in the comments which one is your favorite. But without further ado, let's get to the list. Alright, so starting us off at number 5, I have the new starter set Miles Morales from Spider-Man Beyond Amazing. And this one's pretty cool for only 40 points. He does also have like a 30-point version, but mainly this one's on the list for the 40-point version here. So I really like this one a lot. He's got the Spider-Man team ability, of course. And he's got a special movement power that gives him charge and stealth, and if he's adjacent to blocking or elevated terrain, opposing lines of fire drawn to him are blocked. So he's kind of got stealth, you know, he could just be adjacent to a wall over here, or some other elevated or something like that. And that way he's still basically got stealth to, you know, stay protected from like range attacks and some outwits and stuff like that. So that's really useful, and yeah, you got 11 attack, quake, 18 super senses, 3 damage with exploit weakness. So you can either hit for 3 exploit or quake everybody for 2 exploit. Because that does combo with the quake. You got the Spider-Man team ability to +1 his super senses if somebody does manage to get up to him or manage to find a way to take a shot at him. So he's, you know, pretty well protected for only 40 points. And he can do some good damage as well. So for all those reasons, I like him a lot. He also has this 30-point version from the starter set, which is just plain old charge quake. Nothing too crazy there. But yeah, I prefer the 40-point version, obviously. The poison in the mid-dial there with the outwit is really good too. But he loses pretty much all defensive powers other than just regular stealth. And, you know, just kind of having the super senses on a 6, I guess. So for all those reasons, he's coming in at number 5 for me. And coming in at number 4 for me, I have the uncommon from the Spider-Man and Venom Absolute Carnage set. This one is rather good also. So taking a look at what he can do, he has a trait here where he can start the game with the Dimensional Watch equipped at no cost. So that's pretty nice. You get a free equipment if you want, and we'll take a quick look at that. It gives you phase teleport, and when this character hits an opposing character, if no character has been placed this turn after resolutions, you can roll a d6. On a 3 through 6, you can place another friendly character with the Spider-Man family keyword adjacent. So that's really helpful if you're on a Spider-Man family team. You can kind of, you know, get that call-in help from the spiderverse effect to get some help and, you know, just bring them over across the map and they can get an attack or whatever. But yeah, that's pretty useful. But then he also has plasticity, sidestep, and stealth on his special movement power. And then he's got a special attack power that gives him precision strike. And when he's given a move action and moves 5 squares or less after resolutions, he can use incapacitate as range at no cost, and may use it to target all opposing characters within range and line of fire. So that was errated slightly, just to, you know, fix some wording with the new incap. So basically it says something along the lines of if he moves 5 or less after resolutions, he can make a range attack as free, but using incapacitate and must give action tokens, something like that, just to make it clear that because incapacitate now isn't its own action, it's like, you know, it's like a you may kind of thing. So pretty much it just means that you have to give action tokens by using incap. But that's not too bad, you know, phase teleport 5 squares if you have the equipment, and then incap everybody within range and line of fire is not too bad. 11 attack with that special, and 18 super senses and 3 damage outwit. Of course, he's got the Spider-Man team ability for that extra +1 on his senses, and the Ultimate's team ability gives him improved targeting for hindering, so he can actually outwit characters that are in stealth. And, you know, he can get that range attack off, ignoring hindering terrain, rather. So, yeah, really cool. And, you know, it does also give him precision strike. So even if he just makes an attack, it is useful for, you know, all the other reasons that Precision Strike is useful, getting through super senses, and can't be reduced below 1, that kind of stuff. So he's really good. He does, like I said, also have the sidestep and stealth and plasticity, so he can kind of get a little movement in there to make his own regular range attacks or close attacks, but most of the time you're going to be counting on that 5 square move to in-cap everybody, just to kind of get into the fight at least. And once you're within range of everybody, then you can kind of sidestep around and do stuff. I wish he had some regular charge or running shout also, or could just make any attack instead of having to use in-cap. Because if you could precision strike everybody within range, that would be nuts, and he would be amazing. But regardless, as is, he's still a very good version of Miles, and for those reasons, he's coming in at number 4. All right, coming in at number 3 is actually one of my absolute favorite versions of Miles. I would love to put this guy at number 1 for a few reasons, but he just doesn't feel enough like Miles to me to really feel like I can put him at number 1. Like, this could have been Peter Parker Spider-Man, and I would not have been able to tell the difference. So we'll take a quick look here at what he can do. He does start with a trait here that gives him super senses, and friendly characters that are adjacent or that have the Avengers keyword can use super senses. He also has improved movement elevated and Spider-Man team ability, so he's going to get +1 on his own super sense roll, and just the fact that he's giving every Avengers character on the map super senses is pretty much the whole reason he's on this list. Taking a look at his dial here, you got 11 charge, 11 quake, 18 and 3 damage with outwit. For 60 points, you know, not too bad. You know, it does look like he's got nothing on defense, but don't forget he's got that traded super senses with the team ability. So he's pretty well defended. Like I said, the main reason is this could have easily been a Peter Parker dial. I wouldn't have known the difference. You know, if they've given him some stealth or some kind of cool, you know, Venom Strike power, that would have been nice. But yeah, I mean, if you play him on an Avengers team, he's more than worth the 60 points. You just kind of have to build around him, really. The new Spider-Man we just got in the Avengers 60th anniversary set is a great combo with him, because he can also give all Avengers the team player team ability, meaning they can all get super senses from Miles, and then they all get to copy the Spider-Man team ability as well, giving your whole team of Avengers a 4 through 6 super senses. So that is a great combo. And yeah, this guy's super good on Avengers teams, but like I said, he doesn't really scream Miles to me. And so even though this is the Miles I'm going to be using most of the time, I couldn't really feel like putting him in the top 1 or 2. So for those reasons, he's coming in at number 3. All right, and coming in at number 2 for Miles here, we have the Rare Prime from Earth X. So I actually really like this Miles quite a bit. He's maybe the strongest one we have so far. However, it's just using that Prime slot and the fact that he is the most expensive Miles that we'll take a look at today at a whopping 75 points. That kind of detracts from him some. Also, based on the keywords and a few other things, it's pretty clear that this was probably supposed to be Miguel O'Hara, Spider-Man 2099, and he may have got switched to Miles at the last minute or something like that. So that's a little awkward, but he is really good nonetheless. He does have traded super senses, and whenever he uses super senses and succeeds after resolutions, you can move him 2 squares. Protected outwit. So having protected outwit on his super senses and also having the team ability to get that +1, it means he's got an unoutwittable 4 through 6 super senses that can move him every time he gets that successful roll. So that is really strong. He also has traded Venom Strike, where when Spider-Man hits with a close attack after resolutions, you can choose one to last until your next turn. Hit characters gain immobile, or hit characters modify attack -1. So you can either immobilize them, keep them from running away, or give them -1 attack, making it harder for them to hit you. So both of those are great options. Then on his defense, this one's a little awkward to me. I always thought this was a weird defense power. But at the beginning of your turn, you can choose one to use until your next turn. Attack +1 or stealth. So that's where he gets his stealth from if you want it. Otherwise, you can go +1 attack and get better odds to hit if you're going offensive, you know. Improved movement for elevated and characters is nice. And yeah, taking a look at his dial, you got that charge, 11 attack, quake, 18, and 3 damage with outwit. And like I said, the traded super senses with the team ability that's unoutwittable is really nice. And yeah, I mean, he kind of feels like most of the other Miles with the Charge, Quake, Outwit kind of combo. And being able to choose Stealth is really nice as well to give him protection, you know, while he's kind of moving up into position. That way you can choose the +1 attack when you're kind of ready to pounce on someone. So yeah, he honestly, to me, kind of feels like he is possibly the strongest Miles. Maybe even the most accurate, even with some of the weird things like having exiles and future keyword kind of points to him being maybe Miguel O'Hara. But on top of that, and the fact, like I said, he's the most points and he has taken up your prime spot, you know, it kind of detracts from him a little bit in my opinion. So he is a really close contestant for number 1, but for those reasons, that's why he's coming in at number 2. All right, as always, before we get to our number 1 pick, I have a few honorable mentions to go over here. I'm not going to actually read over every single thing they do. I just kind of want to quickly go through them, and because this is all the other Miles we have in the game. So starting us off here, the very first appearance of Miles in Heroclix from the Amazing Spider-Man set. It does have a really cool sculpt for this one, and he's only 34 points, and he has a really cool camouflage trait. And you know, he's got like charged super strength, so he can do some good damage for his point value, but he's just outdated. And then next up, we actually have the uncommon from the Superior Foes of Spider-Man. In my opinion, actually the worst version of Miles. Probably the only one really deserving of like a dishonorable mention. Just don't try him. He's too many points and he just doesn't really do anything cool. But then we have some other really cool ones here. The new common from Beyond Amazing is pretty great at either 50 or 25. He's kind of a good little mobile secondary attacker for range or close, depending on his point value. So yeah, I really like to just kind of throw him onto a team for 25 or something. He's fun. And then our other Miles right here from the Play at Home kit. If I had to pick a 6th spot, this would be my number 6. This one is really close. I really wanted to put him on the list, but I don't know. He doesn't have any move and attack starting out, except for being able to be placed by the wall crawler trait, which is nice, and the Venom Punch effect is really cool. So that's the main reason I like him a lot. But yeah, like I said, just not really having enough mobility for me was kind of the main thing on that one. And then we also have Miles and Gwen duo, which is one of my all-time favorite duos for the entire game. They're so fun to play, and they just did a really great job on this duo, and they have some of the best bystanders in the game that they draw powers from, and they like pop out, I think, when they would be KO'd, if I'm remembering correctly. So kind of like how the newer duo figures work today. And last but not least, Miles West. The only kind of like alternate version of Miles we have in Clix so far. Definitely could make the list. I just exclude him because he's an alternate version of the character from a separate universe. Technically doesn't even exist in the comics. This was like made up by WizKids, which really cool. They did a great job of him. This is a great figure, especially nowadays with how many good like police and detective characters there are. So he's a very, very cool figure. I do like him a lot. And yeah, that's pretty much it for all of the honorable mentions, all of the other Miles we have in the game. So without further ado, let's get to my number 1 pick. All right, swinging in at number 1 for me, we have the convention exclusive, or kind of like the prize figure from 2022 Worlds. This was actually supposed to be like a 2020 prize figure, but he got pushed back because of, you know, the shutdown and everything. So we didn't get him until 2022, but it is a sculpt reuse from the Superior Foes of Spider-Man, super rare, you know, handstand Spidey, which is a really awesome sculpt. I love this one a lot. So very cool looking Spider-Man, Miles Morales there. And yeah, this one kind of just combines everything I like on all the other Miles. And we'll just take a look here. He's got camouflage, which gives him stealth. And, you know, if he's adjacent to blocking or elevated terrain, then opposing characters can't draw lines of fire to him. So he's got that super stealth. He does have Incapacitate, Precision Strike, and Quake. And when an opposing character misses Spider-Man with an attack after resolutions, give the attacker an action token. So you know, he can be giving out action tokens every time they miss him, which is pretty easy because he's got that super duper senses there with the team ability. And Perplex, you know, you could Perplex his attack up, which you might need to when you're going in there to charge, quake, precision strike a bunch of people. Or you could Perplex up his defense to 19 and have better odds of, you know, being missed by attacks and handing out free action tokens. And then later on, he does get some hypersonic and some flurry with some outwit as well. So yeah, he keeps that super senses and that special attack power the whole time. And yeah, I don't know, I just feel like, you know, maybe he could be a little bit better, but at the same time, I feel like he's got everything that I want from a Miles. So I do hope that one day soon we get some like amazing, super rare Miles that just blows all of these ones out of the water, and I can really put him at number 1, because I did have the hardest time narrowing down this list, and honestly, almost any one of these 5 could have been number 1. I really kind of tackled all the pros and cons of all of them, and it was super duper close. I barely managed to actually put them in any kind of order, but anyway, that's my picks for the top 5 Miles Morales, and for all those reasons, that's why I chose him as number 1. Alright, as always, that's going to do it for this top 5 list. However, don't forget to leave a comment below telling me who your favorite Miles is and who you'd like to see on a future top 5 list. And if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you smash that like button because it does help me out a lot. And don't forget to click that subscribe button so you don't miss any future videos. And if you guys would like to help support the channel even more, make sure you check the links in the description for our Patreon, as well as that join membership button down below so you can join the YouTube memberships or the Patreon for as little as $1 a month and be entered into our monthly giveaways, as well as some other cool prizes, so make sure you check that out. You can also see your name here in the credits with all these other amazing people. But that's going to do it for this video. Thank you guys again so much for watching. Until next time, this has been Heroclix Headquarters, signing off.